Great. Well, howdy. My name is Selvin Diaz. I am a senior civil engineer from Houston, Texas, and I have the honor and privilege of being TAMU SHIP's president for this academic school year. I want to welcome you all and thank you for being here for our session about mastering membership retention. And I'm here today being joined by my executive team, which I'll let them introduce themselves.
Howdy, my name is Marianne Bautista. I'm a junior industrial distribution major from Laredo, Texas, and I have the honor and privilege of being this year's Director of Internal Affairs for TAMU SHIP.
Howdy, my name is Daniel Martinez. I am a senior mechanical engineering major from Seguin, Texas, and I have the honor and privilege of being this year's Director of Academic Development for TAMU SHIP.
Howdy, my name is Anika Navila. I'm a junior mechanical engineer from Katy, Texas, and I have the honor and privilege of being the treasurer for this upcoming academic school year.
Howdy, my name is Diego Leonardo Torres. I'm a junior computer science major from Katy, Texas, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as this year's Director of Technical Affairs for TAMU SHIP.
Great. Well, again, thank you all for being here. I hope you watch our on-demand session about mastering membership retention. If you didn't, or you probably forgot what you saw there, remember you have the resources to the right in your screen, I believe, and you could download our slides. And we're here today to answer any questions that you have about our session. All of the officers here today are very well-rounded about what happens in TAMU SHIP, and they have really good experience. So we'll be more than happy to help you and your chapter with any questions so that you can succeed and your chapter can succeed. So we're happy to be here.
Okay. And I had to introduce myself, but I'm Ed Martinez. I'm the Region 3 Junior Representative, also a member of the Colorado Professional Chapter. I'm based here in Denver, Colorado, and I'll be the moderator for this session, so kind of just helping things move along. And while we're waiting for some questions to come in, I can kind of kick things off for us. First question I have for our panel is that how would you define member retention?
I guess I can start off with that question and what it means to me and for us. For me, mastering membership retention is for the school year to finish last year and making sure that we can keep the same people that are staying in school back to next year. You know, obviously the people who graduated are not gonna be able to come back, right? So for me, keeping those people, making sure that they can come back next year because they like what they get from TAMU SHIP is mastering membership retention. And with that, right, they can expect something new the next year, a little bit of a twist, right? You can't have the same things happening again the next year because it needs to be a little bit different so that they can come back and enjoy what they're coming here to TAMU SHIP. But I'll let anybody else on my team define that if.
I can say something real quick. So I think something that comes to mind in defining member retention for me is keeping attendance up in events throughout the year. So I think last year in particular, we saw a record amount of people staying in attendance at general meetings and at events. I think that's a reflection really of doing exactly what Selvin was saying, keeping events interesting, keeping meetings interesting, and that really encourage people to keep coming back to it. Everything involving TAMU SHIP.
Okay, yeah, thanks for those answers. Anyone else on the panel have something before we move on?
Looks like we're starting to get some audience questions, so I'll read the first one. This is from Abigail Bravo. After implementing such changes, attributes, and events into a SHIP chapter, how long would you say it can take to see a growth in the members? Is it always a gradual process, or can it happen all in one school year?
That's a good question. I would say it depends, right? if it could happen in the school year, I would say at A&M, since we're a pretty big chapter, pretty big university, right? I think any changes that we implement into the organization happen very quick, and you can see the effects of it pretty fast. So I don't know how it would be for other chapters, but at least speaking from our experience, I think when we change something, it can be a pretty fast change, and it's good because people seem to be learning quick.
I want to add on to that. I'm sorry, Diego, you can go if you need to.
Okay, now you can go. You can go. It's okay.
Okay, I just want to say in terms of like the members themselves, there's definitely a huge growth. There's people who come in not knowing anyone on their first event, and at the end of the year, they run for office. So not only are we changing events and updating them and keeping them interested, but the people themselves like really become integrated into the familia that we have at the end of the day.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I feel like our freshman and sophomore classes are like the predominant classes for tenureship. So any change you make, like, you can really get those new freshmen, and like with that, you can change the whole organization as a whole. So yeah.
If I can add on to that, actually, from my experience as a freshman, I definitely noticed changes throughout the year in the organization, and it's what made me want to run for office in the first place. You can even see it just at the executive level. You can see how much they put into it, and it makes you want to be a part of that. So as long as you do everything correct and you put your heart into it, you'll definitely see changes.
Awesome. It looks like we've got a few more questions in here. The next one is, what strategies can be employed to turn passive members into active contributors and future leaders within the chapter?
Kind of want to take the lead on this one. If you guys have seen the recording that we had earlier, we talked about how empathy is really like the key. So just real quick, sympathy is just acknowledging what someone's going through, and empathy is understanding it. So once you understand your members and you give them that empathy, they feel very valued. And when someone feels valued, you know, you make that connection, you make that bond, especially in like a huge chapter such as like Texas A&M. It's normal to feel kind of lost, I was saying, but you know, once you find the people that you really connect with, then you're encouraged to show up more. You're encouraged to actually be a changing member, such as an officer in the organization. So it's really about that connection and building that familia off of empathy, off of understanding each other. And I think that is something that should never be overlooked, especially when wanting to retain your members and having them like continue to show up and input, not just show up, but actually be a part of the change.
If I could add on to that, I see in previous years that the executives would talk to the members almost every time that we have an event. And it's always encouraged for our members to come up to the panel if we have one, or to just come up to the speakers for that specific workshop or event. And that's what kind of got me into being more active in the organization as well. I've seen other people do the same. It's really just about opening yourself to conversations and being willing to network with your own members. That's what gets them a little bit more excited about coming to events.
I'd like to add on. So another thing you can do is like reach out, or if you see them doing on campus, like talk to them about coming out. If you see them at a few events here and there, but they're not really like coming regularly, just be like, hey, what's going on? We have all these programs to help you out. You can learn more here, and always be supportive, right? And understanding, because we are in college, so they could be really busy. So yeah, leading to that empathy.
Awesome. Great answers, everyone. So some of these questions have been more engagement. Now we're going to turn more to the retention part. The first one is, what has been the most effective strategy for retaining members during long breaks, such as summer? That was provided by Jonathan Pierre-Louis.
I think that would be a great question for our PR officer, but unfortunately, they're not here today. I think the biggest thing is social media, making sure that they're informed through Instagram or our, we use Geneva for like our GroupMe. We used to use GroupMe, but now we use Geneva. It's a really good platform to sort of spread information in like separate rooms. But yeah, we try to keep our members informed through that and making sure that they know what's going on with SHIP. And I think that's the most effective way to do it. And yeah, also reaching out probably like one-on-one to people. I feel like social media is probably the number one way to do it. I don't know if anybody has anything else to say.
Awesome. The next question that comes in, this is from Alejandro Mirafuentes. Hello, Familia. I have a question for the panel. How does member retention compare when our member count is smaller? Obviously, I know your chapter is large, but do you have any advice for those who might be smaller chapters?
I can say something. Obviously, right. Our chapter is pretty big. We have a really big university, a big population of Hispanic people at Texas A&M. But I think what we do here, if we move it on to a smaller chapter, can still translate to like a good success. You have to stay true to what you're doing, stay true to your mission and vision, implement, the things that we said in the slides, empathy, sympathy, be empathetic with your members. Make sure, like, a really good thing that we have is the point system. If you implement those things and you have sort of the same, if you have a drive, like, things will be successful. I feel like even if we, like I said, if we translate what we do at this big chapter to a smaller chapter, I think things will still work out, if that makes sense.
To add on to what you said, I definitely believe that there's some things that stay the same with a small chapter and a big chapter. And it's what Selvin mentioned is really the mission and the vision of what SHIP is and like our purpose. So once you are very clear with actually how everyone has been saying throughout these meetings is if you're very clear with what SHIP is and what it has to offer, people will definitely want to join. And especially like having that along with the quality of events and just making people feel welcomed, you'll see that people will start to go and be like, hey, this is actually extremely beneficial to me. And they're going to want to bring their friends and people that they care about because they'll see SHIP's true intentions.
Awesome. The next question comes in as, what type of events did you hold specifically for member retention that you saw significant change or bigger numbers with? That was from Ophelia Avila Cardenas.
I think the mentorship program has been something that has helped out a lot with this. Our mentorship program is probably one of the biggest programs, but I'll let Daniel speak about this because this is his area.
Yeah, sorry, I had to think about it for a second. Yeah, our mentorship program is one of our biggest programs. I think last year we had over 160 members. It's been established for a while now, so there's a lot of encouragement for upperclassmen to be mentors whenever they join. There's a lot of encouragement for underclassmen to join as mentees, and getting those pairings made and keeping people interacting with each other gives them a reason to come back to SHIP, right? They get a lot of benefit from having a mentor, but at the same time, I've seen a lot of people, including myself and my own mentee, being excited to be a mentor after being a mentee. They're excited to have an impact on other people directly, and kind of get another human to human connection that you can't really get necessarily from going to a SHIP event, like a large SHIP event, right? It's more of a one-on-one, more intimate connection. And I think that helps a lot with, like I said, keeping people coming back to SHIP because they want to partake in the mentorship program.
Yeah,
Awesome.
in that program, sorry, I just wanted to tag along. That program has like a lot of events throughout the year. In the slides, in the session, I believe I said that there's like a lot of like stuff tailored for that mentorship program, such as mentorship picnics, like little trivia nights, stuff like that. Events like that help our, increase interaction and bringing our members back to stay in the program and to SHIP events in general.
Awesome. A great follow-up question that was provided by Juan Gomez is, what advice would you give for a chapter wanting to start a mentorship program?
I would say speak about it a lot, right? In the general meetings, in your workshops, say it, like tell people. The more you say it, the more it'll get in their brain. You know, this is something that I should do. This is something that, you know, that maybe I can put in my resume. I was a mentor in SHIP, and just tell them what they can get out of it, right? If you tell them what they can get from it and you repeat it a lot, I'm sure people are going to start listening, like, I should be a part of this. But yeah, and also having maybe one-on-one conversations with people. Hey, you should join this. Hey, you should be a part of this. And I think if you do that, it will be a really good, effective way to start a mentorship program. Because, you know, a lot of people, when they start something, the best way to do it is by having one-on-one conversations with people that you want to get into it. So,
Is there a software program or something that you use to pair up the mentors and the mentees?
So the way we do it at Timmy Ship is, you know, whenever people are interested in joining the mentorship program, we have them fill out like a Google form that basically they're able to put in, you know, what their major is, what industries they're interested in, what kind of job they may want, and also just put in, you know, whether they're underclassmen, they're freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, fourth year senior, fifth year senior, whatever. So we're able to get all that information from people, and then we're able to go through each of them individually, right? It's a lot of people to go through, but I have people that help me with that, representatives that help me with that. So going through all those applications, you have to do it manually, but that's what you got to do in order to make sure you have the best pairs possible. So going through those and matching people up based on their major, based on their industry of interest, whatever it may be. So.
Awesome. Your next question that's coming from the audience is, how would you approach trying to retain members who are part of a less populated major so that they feel more incentivized to return?
I guess I can take this one. My major is also one of like the least common ones. And really it's just finding those people and to not be afraid to speak up. So for example, I know someone who's interested in that major, but it's not as spoken of like as often. I will definitely make sure and just promote it myself and make myself available so that other people can come up to me and talk to me about it. And even if you're not in like the same major, a lot of times your classes are the same. So even studying for classes together, you know, you have like all the common like maths and sciences, and just setting up that group for you to do work with is already just very encouraging because not only are you doing schoolwork with them, but you're also in SHIP with them. So having that familia, you're all in engineering, you're all doing things together. So try to find people who are in your major to do that. But even if they're not in your major, you definitely have a lot of things in common, academic wise and also just interest wise.
Yeah, and from like a different point of view, so we have like less Hispanics in computer science. So we have less computer science in SHIP. And so for that, I really just like reach out. Like I know all the people in computer science and SHIP. And also all the freshmen that are aspiring to be in computer science. Like I'm in contact with them and like giving them tips, advice, whatever they want for classes, professors. And I feel like that really helps retain members because like they see that you care and you want them to succeed in whatever they want to do. So yeah.
All right. Your next question deals with what are some specific actions that you implemented to retain your chapter members, especially after national convention?
this is a great question for Diego and to talk about the point system.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we have a point system that, like, if you saw the video, there's like a hierarchy on points. And so after national convention, everybody comes back from national convention. They're like, oh, this was an amazing experience, right? And so the rest of our members are now more incentivized to get those points for next year, right? And so they go trying to get more points, but then they become more friends. And so it's kind of like a snowball effect, right? They come for points or because they want to go to national convention, but they leave with their familia. And then that's what ultimately retains all our members, like, past the summer. Because, I mean, you go the whole school year after national convention, like, you've already known these people for, like, 6 months. So you want to keep that going for the future.
Yeah, and also our spring semester, like it's still pretty packed. We have a lot of events happening, like Ace Camp, which is our program where we bring high school students to our campus. There's so many members involved in that, volunteering in that. Also, like something else that we started this year is Ship Run. That's a 5K run that we did at A&M this year. That keeps people like working, helping out. I think we had more than 50 volunteers doing like helping out with that event. So we have a lot of events going out in the spring semester that keep people coming back because they want to help out their familia. They love what they can get from SHIP. And they love being a part of SHIP, so that they want to get involved still after National Convention.
I could also add on, if you know that a lot of people at your chapter like to do sports or something, like we do at A&M, we have multiple teams that you can be a part of. We try to keep it more of on a friendly side. If there's a lot of people that are trying to be competitive, we make a team for that as well. As long as you tailor it to your organization, it should be fine. But I think that's a great addition to your chapter as well.
Awesome. Your next question is, what role does data play in your chapter's membership retention efforts?
Yeah, well, speaking from the president's side, we have a lot of tools in our in our drive. Tenureship has been around for more than 30 years. So throughout those 30 years, previous presidents, VPs have created tools to sort of get the data, statistics of how our trends, how the population, how many people are coming to events, how many people are involved in getting something from it. We have those tools to help us out and visualize that. One of those tools that we have that the president showed me last year was like a tool, how many people come to general meetings. The previous years, like our general meeting trend was like this, like it was going down. But like this year, our general meeting trend was this, like it was going up. We started I think with like around 120 people coming to general meetings, and then by the end we had around 170. Those are some data that we use, that we visualize in trends to see how we're doing as a chapter, and then that helps you with your tool for the CNT, right? The chapter management tool, so that SHIP National knows how you're doing. But
Awesome. Thanks for the information there. And then what have been some challenges for your particular chapter when trying to retain members?
Okay. So I mentioned that like a snowball effect. On like the points, right? And so I feel like something that you can do is have like a little bit too much retention, right? Like with this particular people, right? You stress school above SHIP, because some people could just be wanting to get all the points, but make sure that they're studying. And so that's something that we didn't think was going to happen, but it kind of not many members, right? But we're stressing that now, and so like we've corrected it. But that's something that could happen in your chapter.
Any other challenges that your chapter specifically has faced on member retention?
I think we did have somewhat of a fall. I think it was after break, if I remember correctly, but I think it was mainly just our marketing. Sometimes like we didn't market it effectively, or maybe we did and something like that happens. But I would like to tie it back to marketing. You always want to have the highest quality when you're doing that, because most of the time people are on their phone anyways. So as long as you make it eye-catching, you put as much information as you can without overflowing it, put pictures from last year, something like that, it should help. But we did have issues with that at some point.
Awesome. These have all been really great answers and great questions from our audience. In our last few minutes here, I'll start with Sylvan. If you can just give any final advice or points as we wrap up this session before we go to the breakouts.
yeah, I would say the biggest advice that I could give any chapter is the point system. I think that is probably one of the biggest things at TAMU SHIP. Helps us to maintain a visualization of who are the most involved members, and people literally come to these events so that they can get more points, right? And that sort of creates a competitive environment. It kind of creates a problem as well sometimes as people start coming to points, just coming for points, right? But I think that's a good problem to have because people are coming. But we want to make sure, like, one of the things that I really want to push in this year is for people to come, right, and also focus on what they're getting from like these events, these workshops. One of the things that I want to really push this year is journaling. Get a journal, give them journals so they can like take notes of what they're getting from these workshops. I think that's very important. But yeah, I think overall the point system, if you put that into your chapter, it could help you out a lot. So you can see who are the most involved members, and you can create sort of a competitive environment. So who can get sponsored for national convention. Anybody else want to give some last minute advice?
I want to say something real quick. So there was a few questions about like mentorship. I think it's really powerful tool for really keeping member retention. Personally, I think one of the most important things, if you're like starting a mentorship program or just like keeping people coming back to it, is also just encouraging people to be active in it. There's been times that I've seen failure from mentors to reach out to their mentees, right? Mentees have bad experiences and they don't really want to come back. They don't want to come back as mentors. They don't want to come back as mentees. And that can especially be a problem if you just don't have that engagement with your mentors. So encourage that engagement, because that engagement like fosters retention, right? Do that through events, do that through direct communication. We send out check-ins halfway through the semester so that if people are having any problems with their mentorship pairing, then they can voice that, right? So that's all I want to say.
I also want to add on from my perspective. I'm in charge of like socials and athletics, and I feel like definitely you guys should use that as a creative opportunity to make people welcome in SHIP. So we're talking a lot about general meetings and mentorship, which is great, but sometimes people just want to relax, and we're all college students, and sometimes it's okay to just take a step back, do something a little bit more like lighthearted, and definitely using like your socials, whatever your city has to offer, whatever your school has to offer, and making that an event. Athletics wise, there's so many sports that you can do, and it's not just open to people who are extremely competitive. It's open to anyone who wants to try it out. So there you get people to do things with, and also you try something new. So definitely just don't be afraid to use like any resource that your town, your school might have to make everyone feel included.
Yeah.
Just a quick thing, like as you're thinking about implementing all of these tips and ideas into your org, like just remember that you're all college students. You all have packed schedules. You guys are all looking for outlets away from your academic life. Make sure that you guys, as the e-board, are prioritizing that you are the outlet for those members. Don't overdo it. Don't overpack. Do what you can and try to be that outlet for the people that you're working for.
Yeah, well, I do think that's time. So I want to thank you all for being here. I encourage you to go to the breakout room, our next session, where we speak in little rooms about mastering membership retention. But yeah, thank you guys for having us here, and we'll see you in the next session. Nice.